Go ahead and go live and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of JQLM Radio's Community Corner. You all know that we started this show a little bit, I'll say later in the year last year. This special show is going to be featuring individuals from all across the nation doing amazing things in their community. You're going to be hearing about some amazing events or some amazing campaigns or a host of things. So today I have a very, very special guest, y'all. I cannot wait to introduce him to you all. He is absolutely amazing. Okay. And he is one of our elders as well. Hey Trosh. What's up? So before I introduce him though and bring him on, I have to get the formalities out of the way, of course, as always. So, with that being said, if this is your first time tuning in to JQLM Radio or JQLM Radio's Community Corner, and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Amazon Alexa, the TuneIn app, Stream a Simple Radio app, and a host of other platforms, of which you can find located on our website at egoentertainmentnet.com, where you can also listen live. All right. Don't forget to follow, like, and share us on social media as well. Connect with us there. We do follow back at JQLM Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also connect with Ego Entertainment Network at EgoEntNet. That's EGOENTNET on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. And if you would like to connect with myself, Lady J, you can follow me on Facebook at Lady J Brand. You can connect with me on Instagram at ladyj.co. At Twitter, I'm not really on Twitter, y'all, like that, but I'm trying to do better. So y'all go over there and follow me. I'll follow you back. JQ underscore and the number one. That's JAQU underscore and the number one. And connect with me on LinkedIn at Lady J. You can also visit my website at ladyj.co to find out more about me and everything that I do and the different brands and services and products that I offer. With that being said, that was a mouthful, y'all, as always. So with that being said, let me go ahead and tell y'all a little bit about my guest real quick before I bring him on. My guest today is none other than Mr. Professor Harold S. Brown. He is a senior citizen here in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana, but he's not just that. Let me tell y'all, he is definitely history in the making, and this is the first day of Black History Month. And he marched with Dr. MLK. Okay. He has been afforded the opportunity to teach in some of the most prestigious universities and colleges across this nation. He is a continuing avid scholar. He also is the president of the Hoosier Indiana AIDS Conference Fund, located right here in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. And he has spent 43 years of his life advocating for healthcare in the African American community and against the epidemic of AIDS in the African American community. So let's welcome none other than Mr. Harold S. Brown to JQLM Radio's Community Corner with your girl, Lady J, right here on Ego Entertainment Network.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lady J. Thank you very much for having me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harold. No problem. Thank you so much for being on. It has been my pleasure. It was absolute pleasure meeting you this past weekend in person. And for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure he'll show a little bit of his personality, probably a lot of it. While we're on here, he is a ball of fire at 75 years old. Okay. So, Mr. Brown, can you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself and your background, please?
I'm very happy to. Once again, I want to say thank you. I'd like to say hello to your audience. I am 75 years of age. I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana. I have 8 brothers and 1 sister, and I have been to New York City where I got my MA and Master of Arts, and I continued on the PhD for 6 years. That did not complete it, but I was very happy to have that experience. It's taught me a lot about everyday living and also about research. In New York City, I had the opportunity to meet many people and to see the hazards that came with AIDS. Was in the 70s, late 70s, that I myself contracted it, and I have been able to overcome the many difficulties that HIV now presents to us. AIDS was the initial name given to the virus, but we have, through research, come to find out that the human immunovirus, HIV, is actually the virus that causes people to be sick and ultimately can threaten their life and cause death. So
Mhm.
we have done some wonderful things. We've had the opportunity to go to Amsterdam in 2018, and that was because there was not a lot of information filtering into the Black community. And it was very important at that time. I was once again suffering at the hands of death. There have been 4 times I've been through death's door, and one out of body experience as a result of having AIDS. The medicines have been protracted in their effect on my body and on the things that I need to do to protect myself. And the most important thing was to find out that there are self-help tests in 20 in Amsterdam that was presented. That was 5 years before America even got that information, and our government allowed those tests to come into our country and be disseminated through pharmacies.
Mhm.
And for that reason, I have continued to search for information to give it to our people and to help us understand how we must learn, educate ourselves, make ourselves aware of our status, and also follow the treatment protocols and keep up with the information research that helps us stay alive and have healthy lives.
All right. So let's go to the beginning just for a moment. Before you even started advocating for healthcare and AIDS in the African American community, you started out with civil rights, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like and being able to march with Dr. MLK and how that impacted you and I'll say inspired you to transition into fighting for our health care?
Thank you very much for that question. I sure will uh, recall for us that in the late 1960s, I had the opportunity to march with Dr. King and to realize that there were many, many, many of us people, young and old, men and women, children, who were all part of the marches. I marched in New York and in Washington, D.C., and it helped me to understand there are many of us who care deeply about each other. And that's what the march is all about.
Yes, sir.
That we make we make a means for all of us to have a decent life and to be equal in our society with respect for one another and to love and care for each other. This is what the march demonstrated.
Mhm.
And more importantly, that we have the courage to stand up when we are in difficulties or when we have illness,
Mhm.
and we are going to see ourselves through with faith and hope
Right.
to meet the challenges of everyday life, but particularly those challenges that are obstacles to the way in which we would like to live, the way in which we do live, and the way in which we can live better.
All right. Amen.
And
Amen to that.
so it's so wonderful to see how many um, mothers and sisters and aunties participated in the march that was very dangerous.
Hmm.
It was not an easy thing to go and to march 3 miles or 6 miles and stay with the group
Right.
under threat of violence
Hmm.
and some very hateful behavior.
Yes.
This was required us to protect each other and once again demonstrate our deep, deep devotion to our lives and to one another living in America.
Hmm. Yes. So, part of your, I'll say, part of your advocacy, before we get into how people can learn more about the AIDS epidemic and how to donate to this fund and what it's all about. Part of your advocacy for healthcare in the African American community involves our mothers, our Black women, because they are a large majority of the population that is in the African American community, in the African American community that has been affected by it. So, and they also tend to uh, die at a higher percentage in childbirth and things of that sort. So, tell us a little bit more about that and what your advocacy looks like for Black women.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to share a very important reality. 52% of all the cases of HIV in the world are women. Here in Marion County, a large section of our community, the Black women, are HIV infected. We know that it's a wonderful thing to know that mothers who are pregnant and have babies that they can have a test now while they're carrying the young, the fetus, and the test can be done on him, her, and we can find out whether or not they are contaminated with the virus.
Mhm.
And from that embryonic fluid, we can then treat with medicines, and the baby can be born without any hint of the HIV. So we're very
Awesome.
happy for that progress in research. We want to say it's very important for young girls to begin to know that the protection they must use, certainly one of the most profound, is the abstinence until they find a particular partner or person whom they would like to be with,
Right.
that will give great safety from the virus. But even then, you don't know if your partner has HIV. The
Right.
only way you can know it is to have an actual test.
Right.
And to get tested, one must go to the doctor or to a laboratory or clinic and have blood drawn. And then we can also know that we can have, if we have HIV, by the antigens in the blood, if you take a self help test, which
Right.
you could get at any drugstore, and it would tell you whether or not you have it. And you and your partner can have a test at the same time to assure that you're having safe conditions in loving one another. It's very important that the act of love care about our health.
Right.
And mamas, we have found out that Black mothers dying in childbirth are at a very high rate compared to
Mhm.
other populations in Marion County.
Right.
Our children, uh, newborns, and young child are do not many die before the first 1,000 days on this earth.
Right.
And in Marion County, we have a very high proportion of people women who have experienced uh, illness and then also death.
Right.
Uh, Judge Hatchett was here 2 years ago. Many persons may know of her on her TV show,
Hmm.
that she has done a remarkable job, and she too lost a sister-in-law to death through childbirth, and she cared so deeply about how it affected her that she came here to Indianapolis to tell us that it is very important for us to understand that there is a difficulty with physicians and the medical professions when it comes to us being Black folks,
Hmm.
and that we're lifting up the word
Right.
that everyone is important.
Right.
And when the mothers are on the delivery table and they're being asked questions, that's a poor time to try
Mhm.
and figure out what the treatment ought to be or what procedures should be used
Exactly.
when mother is busy hollering to her our life. And I
Exactly.
love her because mother gives us life and she does it without a pill or a needle. And the
Yes.
HIV will require you, if you get it, to be on a pill. Or now we have a new research advancement of a needle that you could take one um, every 2 months,
Hmm.
um, and that it will prevent you from getting HIV. If you do not have it, once
Right.
you have HIV, then you must take pills consistently for the rest of your life. It's
Hmm.
very important to know that and understand the danger so
Right.
that you don't put yourself at risk with anybody or even with yourself. We
Mhm.
know that the three main ways are through blood, through uh, through in vitro contact, and also through IV use needles. Those are the three major routes through which the HIV comes. So we can do so much by learning, by education of ourselves and one another to help ourselves both behave in an appropriate way and
Mhm.
also respect our bodies and those of others.
All right. Yes. And now that is also in addition to for those who are listening to some of these issues. Listen, I'm a black woman, I'm a mother, um and I can say in addition to having HIV or AIDS, black mothers are still with other conditions like preeclampsia and all of that. We are at a much higher rate um getting those different types of symptoms and things that contribute to death in childbirth. So that's just an added, another added risk factor. Um, I happen to be one of those mothers, and I ended up having to have an abortion during my second trimester because there was 80% chance that I would bleed out while giving birth. So these are very real issues in the African American community. And when it comes to the AIDS epidemic and how uh, I think you said yesterday, 47% of us are in the
Actually,
protection group basis.
52.8%
Okay,
in
52.8%
the
of us are part of the new. Every time that there are new cases of HIV or AIDS, we are 52.8% of that population here, right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Uh, but we're a very small percentage of the actual whole population of the city. So that says a lot about how we are going about um, in our relationship sexually, how we are going about for those who are using drugs and needles, and and the other ways that people contract HIV or AIDS. So can you tell us a little bit about what those statistics are and how people donating to this fund is going to help us go and gain the knowledge needed to come back and then start applying that knowledge to help kind of curve some of these numbers.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm so happy to share this information among ourselves, and I want us to turn around and share it with someone else,
Yeah.
so that we can all embrace the significance of HIV in our community and how much it impacts our mothers, how much it impacts our new generation of children, how much it impacts our elders, including myself, that have I've lived a whole history of the disease, and we still don't have nursing homes well adequately trained for the reception of persons who will need those services
Mhm.
as we age and as we meet those conditions. It's very important that we begin to see HIV in the context of everyday life, that it's possible to to have ourselves infected by the disease by the ways in which we behave and live. And
Mhm.
what's very important is that 1 in 6 people in this county has HIV and does not know it. And it's because of that fact that it is spread. We all believe we know or we can tell by sight that somebody's all right, but that's not true.
Mhm.
1 in 6 people, 1 in 6 people, even listening to our program today, has HIV and does not know it. And the only way you can know it is to get tested.
That's right.
And then it's very important to share that information and not keep it to yourself, because there is a deep wound that is opened up when one is diagnosed by the HIV,
Mhm.
which was formerly called AIDS,
Mhm.
and it's a very hurtful experience when one first finds that out. So it's very important to find a friend, to go to a clinician, to speak to a therapist, to even turn around and, if mama's with you, to be able to speak to her and tell her about what you have found out about yourself. Is very important. Or if there is a friend, to be
Mhm.
able to share that and to express that emotional wound that comes with being diagnosed with the disease. It's we have tried very hard to spread the word in our community, and we're very limited until we come to a radio show like this of Lady J. It's very important how we spread that word, and we can do that by sending more people to the International AIDS Conference, which
Mhm.
will, this year will be held in Montreal, Canada. It is held every 2 years. It's a collection of all the extraordinary lay people, persons living with HIV, persons who take care of us, the treaters, the providers, policymakers, researchers, a great assembly of the world's people that care about us. It's very important that we remember it only took one person to bring COVID 19 into the United States and
Mhm.
make it an epidemic.
Mhm.
And here in Indianapolis, we have 219 people last year. And for the last 10 years, we have had 200 to 225 people every year in the Black community contract AIDS. It's
Mhm.
cumulative.
Mhm.
10 times 20 is 2,000.
Right.
And it's not a small group of persons, and it's not limited to gay white boys. It
Mhm.
started in that community, but somebody crossed the street both ways.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes,
And
sir.
now we have mothers, fathers,
Mhm.
children with HIV.
Mhm.
And one of the deep hurts in my heart is for mothers who have had children before this time. Our research allowed us to check embryonic fluid, uh, not tell their children they had HIV,
Right.
and the child discovered it in high school
Mhm.
through physical examinations for athletics or other activities. And then what a disaster
Yeah.
comes to the family's doorstep when
Right.
a child finds out that they have such a harmful disease and
Mhm.
they weren't told about it. And
Right.
so that can be avoided by our including education in our schools,
Mhm.
not being afraid to talk about it throughout our community, from the church doorstep to the school to the home.
Mhm.
This will help eliminate the stigma that is associated with HIV, and that it was first a gay disease. Many people still think that that's part of the characteristic of the disease, and it's not.
Mhm.
Not when you have 52.4% of the
Right.
population with the disease, and that a great majority of those are women, not
Mhm.
men. So then we must be take care. We must take care to know what we can find out about HIV, and we can do that a lot with going to the Hoosier International AIDS Scholarship, the conference rather, and it is the Hoosier International AIDS Scholarship Fund that provides assistance to applicants to be able to go to Canada or to view the conference here virtually
Mhm.
by giving to persons the necessary funds for registration fees, which are about $1,200, and then for the hotel accommodation, that's about $850, and then for the round trip airfare, $950.
Mhm.
And for those who stay here, the conference fee is $950, and we hope to give a per diem to those who stay here. So the whole thing would be about $1,450, and
Mhm.
for those that go to Canada, it'd be about $3,300. And
Mhm.
if we take as many as we can, we're right now trying to aim at $75,000 that allow us to bring 15 people to Canada on in person
Mhm.
and 15 people virtually.
Okay.
So it's a tremendous opportunity to learn not only about HIV, but health and
Mhm.
nutrition. These are two significant partners in our lives, health and nutrition.
Yes, sir. So, for those of you who are listening, first let me say, I hope that you all know that this is an absolute treat to be sitting here with Professor Harold S. Brown and to know that he has been advocating for Black women, African Americans, really in healthcare and uh, concerning HIV and AIDS as well for over 43 years is absolutely amazing. I would encourage everybody to, when you see his television campaign, when you see this radio campaign, when you hear about the Fund Duel campaign, to please donate. So those of you who are in healthcare, those of you who are nurses, especially Black people, if you are a nurse, a doctor, a therapist, if you are a nutritionist, you need to be at this conference so that you can learn what you need to learn and bring it back and implement it in your clinics, in your hospitals, in your therapy practices, and things of that sort, especially with the kids who are born with this disease. I'm a parent of a special needs child. I can tell you that some children can be very cruel. Okay, so it will take all of us to work together to try to curb these numbers. And it seems that whenever it is a illness or a condition that is can be extremely fatal, that is a lifelong thing that you have to live with, it seems that the African American community is always at the top of the list when it comes to percentages and risk factors. We're always in the red, if you will. So it's going to take all of us to come together. I know everybody's on this like health and wellness kick, but if we don't continue to have the conversations and actually invest in ourselves in attending different conferences and attending different classes and help shops and workshops, partnering with different organizations, pouring our money into educating and helping ourselves instead of putting it in the hands of government officials and legislators, we need to be working together to, be able to apply some of these things to our everyday life and in the different places and spaces that we are in and we operate in with one another and professionals across the different industries. So I would encourage you to please go and visit indianaiac.com. That's indianaiac.com. You can learn more about Professor Harold S. Brown and his campaign to raise these funds. You can learn more about the scholarship fund. You can learn more about the conference, and there's a button there to donate right now. There's one place that you can donate. That button will take you there. There will be another place that you can donate coming soon. So stay tuned for that. You will see that all across social media, in your ads. You'll see that on TV for those of you who live in the Pike and Washington Township areas. You'll see that launching this month, February 14th. So please, please, please go and donate to send our healthcare professionals or just people who are really big and advocating for HIV and AIDS or Black women in healthcare to this conference so they can come back and take what they learned and apply it within our communities. Mr. Brown, do you have anything else that you would like to leave with our listeners?
I'd just like to say that there is a lot of humbug in the country about doctors being tired and nurses being tired. And they wouldn't be so tired if there were more black doctors and more of our black students admitted to medical schools that
Mm-hmm.
would help enlarge the population of great men and women who
Mm-hmm.
serve us and treat us. And it's very important that in
Absolutely.
my lifetime, I've had less than two hands full of black physicians uh, even touch me. And that over almost 70 years means that predominantly white people touched
Mm-hmm.
me or treated me. And it should have been people that look like me. It should have been people who I felt comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be people that are uh, of our own race and culture, that have an understanding of who we are and what we are, and most of all, love us.
Mm-hmm.
That when you're loved with
Right.
care, it helps you to have hope and
Right.
to hold on when things get difficult. Because this disease takes you to phases. Some of them are quite difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
you can survive. You can live a happy life. You take your medication, and just know that fear not, and that here we are, and you are our hope, the young people for this next generation,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to live a productive life, even with HIV, but more importantly, know how not to get it. Please,
Absolutely.
please tune in. Like Lady J said, a beautiful teammate of mine. Oh, you couldn't ask for a more profound lady to assist you, and to know that if you will simply go to indianaiac.com, that we are going to use all that money that you donate to get someone else to that conference, so they can come back here and both share what they know and do what they know
Mm-hmm.
to help
Yes.
us end HIV.
Yes. And so 15 people going there and 15 people attending virtually. That's 30 that's 30 of us all together. And imagine what we can do if it was a combination of just people that advocate for healthcare, people that advocate for HIV, some of our nurses, doctors, and all of these things. Just
That's
imagine
right.
how much work that we could do if we come together
That's
and support one another
that's
for
right.
this wonderful campaign. So Dr.
May I
Brown,
say,
uh-huh.
100% of all your donations go directly to the scholarship. I get no money. I don't ask for any money. I use what little I have to make sure nobody else has to suffer what I have been through, both in my physical experience and then also in the stigma, psychological experience, the emotions that come with the way in which people treat you with the disease, and the way in which we have held attitudes that have been unkind to
Mhm.
one another because of the disease. Those are being overcome. And so be assured that your donation goes to help another person live, and help another person live to care for somebody else in our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, everybody again, lastly, indianaiac.com. Indianaiac.com. Please go there, find out more about this campaign, the fund, and donate. Go click the button and go donate. Tell your family, friends, auntie, cousin, uncle, and them. Okay, to go donate.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Um, so again, Mr. Brown, before we get out of here, I just again want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. I have in the last week, I've learned a lot about you and your life. Hopefully, I will invite you back and we can talk a little bit about you, like your story. If y'all listen, he has an amazing story. Okay, an amazing story. And it would definitely bless you all, especially during the month of Black History Month. This is the first day of Black History Month, so I'm so excited that you were one of the first ones to
Yes,
sit with us and talk with us.
thank
Um,
you,
and at
thank you.
75 years old, I know a lot of y'all hope, even with his illness, a lot of y'all would hope y'all had as much energy as he has. Okay,
Yes, yes,
so and to be so passionate about um our black mothers and about black people in healthcare and HIV and AIDS is just a awesome and amazing thing. So again, I really appreciate you for reaching out and allowing us to host you on today and to feature you on today and to talk about what you are passionate about. Um, me, I'm just passionate about our people, period. So
Me
thank
too.
you again. Thank you for your hard work, and thank you for your fight, in civil rights and healthcare. I do appreciate it. And with that
Thank you.
being said, everyone, you have been tuned in to another edition of JQLM Radio's Community Corner with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. Until next time, this is your girl, Lady J, signing off. Love y'all. Deuces.